at you. Look at you. Well, I have a few remarks that I wanted to make, and all of them in some way, shape, or form have been made already. So I guess you would say, well, then what the hell are you doing here? Actually, you know, having been in K-12 and originally from New York and now living in Brooklyn again, but having spent most of my career both as a teacher and administrator, continuation high school principal, middle school principal, high school principal in LA, all of that out here in California, and then having a friend like Mike, I came in part to just maybe try to frame this conversation in a way that will encourage you, will give you something as you go forward both today and hopefully throughout the year to kind of just use as the backdrop of your own interior landscape against which you try to do the work of, as Mike said, standing in this small space. He's right about that. As all of this stuff has happened around the country, Common Core, new assessments, what is this person going to say, what's going to happen in the Department of Education, what new law is going to come down from the state, what about our funding? As all of those things, kind of like a big wave of new information happens to come and go, the real question isn't what they say or what they do. And in my career, I've never made what they did in any of those offices. Maybe that's one of the reasons it's so hard for me to keep a doggone job. But I've never made what they did the centerpiece of my life. Centerpiece of my life came up here and sang the national anthem. That's what has been at the heart of this work. And I take great stock when I watch these young people, when I watch the students who came up and present the colors, when I watch these young students put up 2026. Lord have mercy, I'm not sure I can count that far. When I watch them come up, I think to myself, okay, now I got my bearings straight. I understand exactly why I get up in the morning and do what I do. And now I get to do it for a college, predominantly black college in New York City, in Brooklyn, New York. But in effect, it's still talking about and to the same population of kids that I worked with here in California. And in that sense, we are actually one family. I'm going to talk about this family thing very quickly, because all the references today were references about Fresno in the house. You know, and I've been listening to young people for a long time. I have 4 children of my own, so I don't have any choice but to listen to them. And I've listened to them talk to me about, well, Dad, you know, it's this and it's that, and here's the difference in today's world, and here's hip-hop music, and here's what you listen to in jazz, and on and on and on. But I was curious as the day went on, or the morning went on, I was intrigued by this notion of all the different regions around this room owning their children. That in your house, you take responsibility for these young people. And I went through in my mind and thought, well, what's really in the house, right? What does this youthful voice mean when they say it's in the house? What does it mean when they say things like, you know, it's all good, right? I asked my granddaughter the other day, I said, sweetie, would you like some lunch? She said, it's all good, Grandpa. Now, I don't know, do you want cantaloupe or don't you? That's all I really want to know. I listen to the voices of young people, and there's something to be said for interpreting it in a way that may make sense as we are in this small space and in this house. One way of being able to interpret it is that there is structure in this house. See, our young people, in spite of all of this stuff that they keep talking about wanting to need to be free and out and about and so on and so forth, what they really want, what they really need, and whether it's old world, school world, you call it whatever you want, what they need is the structure of knowing that an adult is in the house, loving, caring, and being there every single day God sends. You got to be, but you got to want. You got to want to be in the house. It doesn't count if an adult is in the house who doesn't want to be there. Next time, will y'all put some scotch up here? The second thing that it counts for, that this whole notion of being in the house means, is that there are people in the house. Now here's the characteristic that's intriguing to me that I saw here today. In the house in Fresno really means not just that we own these kids, but that we love these children. We love them. Now I have to say to you, there's a certain amount of tension that comes with this, right? Because as educators, even though in small spaces, in our own classrooms, when I was teaching English or when I was working with other teachers or whatever, you would hear people say the word love every once in a while, right? What I'm saying to you is, as a city, as an entity, as a big monolithic body of folks all around this room and all around this community, if you don't love your children, you can't come in the house and do this work. You have to really come from inside your soul to want to do this kind of work. When I heard the mayor this morning say thank you, the way I interpreted her comment was, thank you for loving my child all day long. Here's what loving would look like in the context of an urban world. It would look like saying to a young man whose pants are sagging, whose behind is showing, whose hat is still on in third period. I'm going to say the truth. Yeah, I ain't looking for a job. It would mean saying to that young man, pull up your pants. Take that cap off. I love you enough. I am not going to let you go through 4 years of high school thinking that any old way you look, any old way you dress is okay. I'm not going to let you go through that. I'm going to give you my wisdom, which is also in this house. My father was a musician and he was a custodian in the high school in New York, right? And in his off time, he was a musician. He played with all the old-timey black musicians in Harlem, New York. And my mother had died when I was about 2, and so he used to take me, and those people would be my babysitters. So now from the time I was about 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I actually sat in these bars and sat in these nightclubs and sat in the juke joints of Harlem, and I remember looking at ladies of the night with the big plumes in their hair. They come and hug you and you smell them for the rest of your day. They would ask you, would you like something? I say, yes, ma'am, I'd like another hug. What I remember about that was that this was a man who, as a person in the house, basically said, with his affection, there will be structure and standards and clarity of your purpose in this life, in this house, even if this house is poor, even if this house doesn't have a lot of money, even if this house has people in it whose first language is not English, even if we don't know how we will be less poor tomorrow than we were today, there will be a dream in this house, and by God, boy, you will hold it up. Now, all of this inside this little space that Mike was referring to. And when I went away to college, my father called me one day. He said, boy, I want you to come home. Bring some of your big books with you. I said, Pop, why I had to bring big books? He said, because I know you're in that school up there where they got those great big books Bring some home. I want you to show them to some of the neighbor people as to what you're doing in this college. Now, I'm a freshman in college. I'm trying to be big time. Got a little girlfriend. I do not want to go on a train from Boston to New York carrying my books. Felt too much like high school. But my father said, bring them. I brought them. I got in the house, and there's all these folks he's got assembled, and they're having iced tea and some collard greens and black-eyed peas. He said, boy, I want you to talk to these folks. Tell them and show them everything you're doing. I said, Papa, I'm doing accounting. These are accounting books. I said, well, he said to me, well, show them anyway. Put them up here on the table so they could take a look at them. I put them up on the table feeling rather stupid. And I said to one of the folks in there, I said, do you know what this is? So old man, Mr. Gatewood, said, no, son, I didn't get to go to college. I didn't get to do that. So no, I don't know what that book is. I said, well, this is my accounting book, and the next one below that is my book in economics. And this is the kind of work we do in college. This older man had a tear in his eye. He said, you know, was a time I actually thought about maybe going to a college someday in my life. He said, but I just kind of missed it. I didn't get a chance. The world was different back then. He said, matter of fact, all of us as musicians could have played Carnegie Hall, but the world was different back then. He said, but boy, do you know, I'm so glad to see you get to do it right now. And the fact that you got these big books, the fact that they're sitting right here, means I get to look at you going forward. In the house are the dreams and the hopes of parents who are just simply trying to see thousands of children in Fresno go forward and do what they never got to do in their lives. You have to hold the container in which those dreams get lived out. You even have to hold the container in which that frustration gets lived out. It's not always pretty with parents who basically say, why didn't you do something? The fact of the matter is, in this house, being court and owner of this house means that you now have to literally create, sustain, and build upon the dreams that these parents have for their children, whether they can clearly articulate it to you or not. What makes this so incredibly powerful, and why you teach, why you run schools, why you clean schools, why you care about it, have pride in your school, is that there is something very miraculous that happens in the course of 180 days. There is something that is akin to biblical times that happens inside this place. People's lives get better. People's lives and their journey gets made more clear. People's sense of themselves grows and begins to blossom. And whether you are the little ones that came up here this morning, or the one who stood here and sang, or the ones who are teaching them every day, to be perfectly honest with you, your life gets better as well. So all I would say to you is that you need as many moments of applaud, moments of total time together to bond, to say hello. You need to see the artistry of your humanity here. You need to do this, I don't know if it's been once in a decade, but you need not let another decade go without you sitting here and literally touching and feeling and knowing that each other's heart beats with some of the same realities that it does whether you're wearing a green shirt or a white shirt or a blue shirt or a green shirt. You got thousands of people all across this country trying to figure out whether or not urban children are educable. Let me say it as straight as I can. You got thousands of people who are sitting somewhere across this country. It's not clear in their mind. It's not clear in the conscience of America, in my judgment, whether or not to invest in the education of these children or wait until they commit a crime and lock them up. They're not sure. If you look at the budgets, they will tell you that they're not sure. If you look at the faith that they have in teaching and teachers and some of the systems and some of the craziness that's going on around here in this country, it tells you that we're sitting on the horns of a dilemma as to whether or not we can deliver this. Well, I will tell you, my bet goes with you. Now, it means we have to get clear with each other about what we can no longer do. The rules of engagement in the house are different. You can't quit on us. You can't come to work every day and quit. You can't say yes but mean no. You leaders, you principals, you can't be chasing teachers out here thinking that the name of the game is catch somebody being bad. Your job is to catch somebody and lift them up and make them really good. You're going to have to ultimately ask for more. You're going to have to ask for more. This is a time when we think about investing in our children, not education as an expense. This is an educational investment territory. And so what I'm saying to you in closing, I didn't know the water had my name on it. Thank you. What I'm saying to you in closing is that there is no doubt in my mind that you had a capacity to do this work. There is no doubt in my mind that those of you who are still at it see yourselves as, in some ways, kind of artists. That you're still painting a picture and it's undone. Whether you're in 3rd grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, whether you're cleaning a building, whether or not you're scaffolding and changing, and whether you're doing a whole host of things to just support the athletic program, you are an artist. And by God, all that this next year is about you taking your brush every single day and painting a picture of what's possible for these young people. That's all I would ask. That's all that you can do. And if you do that well, if you do it well, there is unspeakable joy that is also in the house. And that's what you start this year with. My hope would be that's how you end the year as well. Thank you so much.